100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Townsville media station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer, and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. But you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I learned that since then. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show can be seen live on Facebook at Martin Houston Live on Facebook, YouTube, and at Martin Houston 35. Check us out on those different podcasting, simulcasting, social media platforms, as well as make sure you download the Tide 109 app. Take it with you wherever you go, so you can stay in contact with the Martin Houston Show, as well as all the other great programming that happens right here on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Hey, we're going to continue breaking down Alabama versus Georgia, talking about the college football playoffs, who you think Alabama is most likely to face. Is it a done deal that Alabama will face Georgia? A lot of people seem to think that will be the rematch. Are you sold on that? Or has Harbaugh done enough to improve, change, rearrange, and transform the Wolverines into a national championship contending team and program in a revamp of last year's staff, and getting younger, taking a pay cut, offering his bonus money to staff, which I think is pretty neat. Joe, did you hear what he's doing with his bonus money?
Yeah, he's giving it to the staff members, the UM staff members who had their salaries cut last year. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome for the employee. Now, anyone that's listened to this show know that I'm not a big Harbaugh fan, but I will give him. Like I said, I try to. I don't try to hide when I'm giving an opinion and I have a little bias. I don't hide it. I'm not a big Harbaugh fan. I think he's overrated. I think he's done nothing. But this year he's done a couple things that make me go, okay, maybe. He made the sacrifice personally, whether that was to save his job or not. Jim Harbaugh could have left Michigan, Joe, and been hired at numerous places last year. But he wanted to stay, and he stayed. And then he got rid of some friends and close associates when he went young on his staff. His entire staff is 45 and younger. His DC is only literally like 34, 35 years old. But last week, just so we can understand what we're talking about, Joe, I think they said with him coming out as number 2, winning the Big Ten championship, making it to the college football playoffs. That alone was $1.7 million in bonus money because his contract was incentive laden with the reduction, and he's going to give that back to all of the staff and of the athletic department and members, not not talking about just coaches, we're talking about staff there in that department. And I thought that was a pretty neat thing by Harbaugh. Now, Joe, this is, I've been saying, who's the 2 coaches that I think 2 peas in the same pod? Jim Harbaugh and
Kirby.
No. Well, Kirby's good. Kirby's on his way there with Nick Saban, but Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher. I always put those 2 in the same boat, that they're 8-4, 9-3 coaches. And I was thinking the other day, Joe, oh my goodness, what would happen? How much crow will I have to eat if that's the only 2 losses Bama were to have this year when Michigan made it into the playoffs, and now they're facing Georgia? So if he were to do that, I'd be like, oh, I had to come on and eat crow. But he has a big hurdle getting past Georgia, without a doubt. But I don't think that's a cakewalk necessarily for the Georgia Bulldogs. In terms of for the Georgia Bulldogs. Have you got to see Michigan play much?
I saw the Ohio State game, but outside of that, I really haven't seen them play that much. But I do think that they challenge Georgia in a lot. I think they mirror image Georgia in a lot of ways.
They do. They got really good tight ends. They have a really, really good running game, and the wide receivers. Sometimes it's hard to judge Big Ten speed, Joe, because they're playing in the Big Ten. But their wide receivers were able to have a little bit of success, but they're physical, so they can match Georgia's physicality. And I think I think that their quarterback is a little better. I think, I take Michigan's quarterback. I think their tight ends are, I don't know if any tight end is as good as Bowers in the country, but their tight ends are very good. And I think their wide receivers can win against Georgia's DBs. And then you go to me, so it comes down to both defenses, I think, are really good. And would you take Gaddis over Georgia's OC? And I think Gaddis is a little more creative, a little more thought process oriented in terms of being creative than Georgia. They had very little success against Iowa. I don't know if they finally wore Iowa down in the Big Ten game, Joe, but their first 2 touchdowns were 67 yards and 75 yards. Other than that, they were both like creative trick plays that Gaddis called, and then it was enough to create a gap that gave them some breathing room. So it'll be an interesting game, but I don't want to spend too much more time on that. We're gonna have DC joining us, DC Capstone Report, getting his thoughts on that as well as the game. But there is one clip I want to hear. I want our audience to hear, and hopefully it'll teach us a lesson. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't ever pick against Bama, okay? Because the day is coming, and the day may come this season that Alabama is not going to be the best team on the field, Joe. And I'm not saying that this Georgia team that we just embarrassed isn't good enough to beat us. But one thing for sure is you can't talk about Bama. If you just listen to the media, you would have thought Bama was a bunch of slouches, that Nick Saban recruiting had fell off for 3 or 4 years, and that Kirby had been the number 1 recruiting class year in and year out. And one of the young men from this team had something to say about, I think what he's saying, and it went along with what I said, is it's one thing to create an underdog, Joe, What do underdogs do when they have a lot of pride, Joe?
They fight back.
They fight back, right? so and most of the time, underdogs are legit. Like Cincy. Cincinnati's going to come into this game, Joe, and they're going to fight back. They're not going to lay down. Now the question is, do they have enough to fight for 4 quarters? Because they don't have a squad full of 3 stars. I mean 5 stars, and high ranking 4 stars. They maybe have 1 or 2 4 stars. I mean that are legit, but they prided themselves on bringing in guys, developing them, and making them better, or getting transfers from other places. And that's nothing wrong with that. So they're going to fight back. But when you have a group of a bunch of 4 and 5 stars that are returning national champions, and or most recently were the best group in the best class, they're gonna fight back too. And that's what happened on Saturday. Is the Alabama Crimson Tide football players, they have pride in what they do. And so when you look at that, this is what Will Anderson had to say about what the media had to say about this Alabama Crimson Tide football team.
Yeah, he was. Malcolm was wild. We came in, we was the underdogs. People saying we was gonna get whipped, blew out, all this other stuff. Like, we Alabama, man. Like, we ain't no D3 team. We ain't no none of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we come to play and we practice hard just like they come to play and practice hard. And, I'm not disrespecting Georgia. Georgia has a great football team, but, sometimes we work hard too for what we want. I just don't get, sometimes I feel like people think we do stuff on purpose. Or it's never a day that offense and defense, we don't go out there, we don't try to execute and we don't play hard and we give it all I got. We give it all I got every play we do on both sides of the ball. So it's never a time where one person's like, I don't fight. It's never that. We try to execute, but things happen. So we're just going to keep rolling off of that.
Yeah. What you think about that? Will Anderson, clearly to me, one of the best players in college football. I mean, there is, if there was a way to take, he is clearly, I don't care what the finalists say, I don't care what came out recently in terms of, and Hutchinson is a good player. Hutchinson should not be in New York in front of Will Anderson. We're going to be talking about that. That guy just told you, we're Alabama. Bama fans hear that. We're Alabama, and that means something. He told you people assume we don't work hard just because we're talented. And that's what I'm saying. When you get a bunch of 4 and 5 stars working hard, committed, focused, and pushed into a corner, you get what Georgia got. You get curb stomped. Will we be able to make a run? Just maybe the snub of Will Anderson not being in New York may be enough to get him over the top as well. Joe, I'm gonna get your thoughts. I'm gonna get DC's thoughts. We'll get the callers' thoughts on the finalists. We'll get the thoughts on Alabama. But coming back on the other side, we'll be bringing in DC Capstone Report right here on the Martin Houston Show.
9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet on the roadways as we kick off this Tuesday morning. Do drive carefully, and if you do see conditions that impact travel, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Just in time for the holiday savings, Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection, low finance rates, and they'll give you top dollar for your trade. Go get a deal now at Townsend Nissan.
There's got to be more to Christmas than fighting for parking, tired feet, and crowded malls. Well, Jesus said, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Look to him and have a Merry Christmas. from Taco Casa.
High prices don't get you a great network. A great network gets you a great network. It's why Total Wireless runs on the largest, most dependable network with nationwide 5G. And now our totally unlimited plan is just $50 a month for talk, text, and high-speed data that never run out. Get unlimited laughing, scrolling, unlimited everything. Total Wireless. Do amazing. Available at authorized dealers. Capable device and SIM required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. Total Wireless reserves the right to review your account after 60 gigs. Terms and conditions at totalwireless.com/terms.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Ask big. Have you seen our artisan-created diamonds? If you've been in a room with one, you can't miss it.
Tom Osmond from Fincher and Osmond.
It's a diamond like I've never seen.
And he's seen a lot of diamonds.
Ask big.
At Fincher and Osmond, you can put artisan-created diamonds side by side with mined diamonds. When you see it,
more importantly, when she sees it,
FincherandOsmond.com.
McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very cool day today. The sky mostly cloudy, the high 54. Cloudy tonight, a chance of showers after midnight, the low 44. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy and warmer. Showers are possible mainly during the morning hours, the high at 65. I'm James Spann with the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 37 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com. Hello, I'm Martin Houston. And while I get really excited about football season, I love the holiday season even more. Merry Christmas from the Tide 109 family and the Martin Houston Show. Roll Tide.
I think what these guys really wanted to sort of gain was more respect. Not just the fact that they were underdogs, because I think we had a tremendous amount of respect for Georgia, their team, and what they accomplished. But you guys gave us a lot of really positive rat poison. The rat poison that you usually give us is usually fatal. But the rat poison that you put out there this week was yummy.
Oh, this is Martin Houston on the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. We got DC Capstone Report. Join us. Phone lines are open for you to communicate with us. The greatest Nick Saban quote that I can remember. Let me say it this way. The one that I liked the most. I don't know if it's the greatest, but that was perfect. That was perfect. Nick Saban telling. It wasn't just the media. It was the Bama fans too, DC. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show.
Oh, good morning, Martin. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. It wasn't just the media giving out that yummy rat poison. It was the fans that talked about it. And we're gonna get to some fans on I guess on both sides of that coin here in just a moment. The phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. Taco Casa hotline open for business. DC, give me your just quick assessment of the game so we can get to these callers, and then we'll circle back on the game.
Well, I thought it was one of the best games we played all year. One of the best performances by entire staff. I think from coaching all the way down. Number one thing stuck out in my mind was the offensive line really stepped up to the plate and did a great job in this game. and then the defense stopping the running game of Georgia. It looked like they took a page out of mine and your assessment last week. We said that they went in and the offensive line gave Bryce Young a chance to throw the ball, and the defense stepped up and stopped the running game, put them in a position to throw the ball. We didn't believe they could beat us throwing the ball, and that's exactly what took place.
Absolutely, and I know that the tight end had a lot of success, but you ain't gonna beat the number one team in the land with just the tight end. I heard that Golden even made that statement: is hey, we may do some things a little different if we face them again, but without a doubt, they can't beat us with just the tight end alone. I give them 25 catches, but if that's all they got, that's all they got, and that's what Bama did. So we got Curtis Lewis. Curtis, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with DC Capstone Report. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Jim, I like to take my bow for my hand and get the team ready. I found that sometimes, no matter how positive of an influence you can give somebody, it's usually to get that positive result by just kicking them.
Oh.
You kick them. I guarantee they're going to kick you back. You would tell them, hey, I'll give you a biscuit if you kick me. I'll give you a biscuit if you kick. They're not going to kick you. Kick them, he's going to kick you back. Just as sure as anything. Well, I think the team played a great game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a flawless game, but it's just like you just said, though. Yeah, you targeted that tight end 16 times. All right, who in the world targets a tight end 16 times? But that's not going to beat you.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have great stats, and he'll probably one day, 2 years from now, get to go to the NFL, or he may end up working at Burger King. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's not to beat you. But I do think that with where we are now, and with some of the things that we probably thought that our coaches could make those changes.
Yeah.
They have no problem making changes. I feel good about the next game, 2 games going in. Because it seemed like we always had the players. That was never a question. We always got the players. It's just a matter of we're going to make the needed changes to get us over that hump. That offensive line, Chris Owens looks like Andre Smith out there. He really did. I'm like, this kid is channeling somebody that is not himself. But he played a heck of a ball game.
Yeah.
A heck of a ball game. And I thought Landon Dickerson stuck back on the field and played the big loss. I like, looked at him twice. I was like, look at it. Well, he's a little shorter, so I guess this big loss.
But
played a great game. Can't beat him. Can't fault him for anything.
That's true, Curtis. They played well, and O-line did step up, but I've been saying the whole time, and I think we've been saying, you got to help the O-line out. You cannot leave a stationary target at one spot and expect these guys to block these elite players. And once we made Georgia go, are they going to throw it quick? Are they going to run it outside? Or are they going to, they knew they didn't have time to just take off and go to one spot and either sack the quarterback or tackle the running back, and it slowed them down. And then once we were able to get, I think one of the biggest things we did was, we had a couple big plays, but we had drives. That Georgia defense, Curtis, DC, they had not had to play a lot of plays this year, and you could see, man, they were gassed. I mean, it was like, oh wow, these guys aren't in great shape.
That's right. I think that's 2 things there that you talked about, Curtis, are important. One is you take Chris Owens and you give him a task, and he has one task, and I think he really shined that one task. Well, all we're going to ask you to do today is you're going to have to play tackle, and that's where you got to focus. You don't got to worry about center anymore. We got a guy. McLaughlin's going to be able to handle it. You're going to be fine there. Just worry about tackle. The other thing was, like Martin said, you tell Javion Cohen and Emil Aguilar, you guards, you got these 2 big guys in here, but all you got to do is you got to fight them, and you got to one play against them, because the next play they're not going to be able to come as hard. And once the offensive line saw that, you could see it. They were patty caking. That defensive line, they were patty caking. They were rested, laying on Javion Cohen.
I was like, it was like Davis was whistling and calling. They're like, man, get me off the field. Give me a hand. Just give me a hand to get the sideline. That hooked me up. And that tempo wore him out. That lineman reminded me, it really reminded me a lot of us. Back in the time, I can't remember what year it was, but it's when we were still big and lumbering on the defensive line when we had
Mount Cody.
We played Oklahoma and they had Oklahoma had that striker kid. Remember striker for Oklahoma?
Number 19.
Coming out that corner and was just eating us alive in the Sugar Bowl. Eating us alive.
Yep.
You couldn't do nothing work because he was so much faster than our guys were. Our guys were big, but our guys were not quick. And that's what Georgia seemed to be. They got 2 down linemen. They cannot go 3 down.
Right.
They're worn out by that time.
And a lot of it also was our play calling, Bill O'Brien's play calling, and the decision with him and Moorhead working together was we can beat this defensive line if we make them stay on the field. And them being able to make them play three plays in a row, they couldn't play 3 plays in a row and go fast. If you notice that, they might get 1 play. He might get in and get 1 stop, but he couldn't get 3 stops in a row.
No, he couldn't get 3 stops. They were just worn out by that time.
And Virgil Williams just pointed out a good point. You know, it had been like 20 days since this Georgia defense had to play a full game because they had Charleston Southern and Georgia Tech, and they just kind of took off. Hey, Kurt, I got a couple other callers, but man, hey, we'll keep it going, man. Appreciate you owning up to kicking the tide and giving us that yummy rat poison.
I'm gonna give him another kick.
All right. Hey, Robert from Mobile, you're in with the Mark Houston Show at DC Capstone Report. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
Will Anderson, the Will Anderson comments were just outstanding. And Nick Saban's dry humor. It's not the old Jack Benny and Bob Newhart type of comedians. They give us their great deadpan lines that their expressions make you laugh. Or even more than the line that they said.
Yeah.
I laugh every time I hear that from Nick Saban say that yummy rat poison comment.
Yeah.
That's definitely the tops his rat poison comment by far.
I agree.
And again, this is something you need to understand. Every time you hear Coach Saban say or hear a player say, well, those are all external factors. They are. The external factors, though, they do make it to the locker room. You can be best assured he used them for motivation, and I think it was really a big motivating factor, especially to the defense.
Yeah. Hey, Robert, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, the other thing that concerns me, of course, and it concerns Saban too, is he doesn't like it when they got to talk bad about you to get you guys to play. Okay, they're not going to talk bad about you all the time, so you really need more than just disrespect to get you to play like this.
But I don't think it was just disrespect. I think this team came together in that Auburn game. I don't think you can underestimate this team becoming a team with the way we beat Auburn. I'm telling you, I think that was a complete carryover of guys. Hey, we know we're good. We know we're talented. Now we know we can win in any environment, and I think that's what you saw Saturday as well. I think the negativity made them practice better, but I think their play and execution came from confidence from the way they beat Auburn.
And I think another thing was, not only that, Martin, was the defense stopped playing the way conservative in their own within themselves. In other words, they realized at that point, hey, we got an offense, we got a team that can fight, we got a team that can win. We don't have to be perfect, but we got to play our heart out every play. And if we bust a play, that's not going to kill this team. This team, we're not going to beat it. We're not going to be the one to beat this team. We're going to win more than we lose, and if we do that, our offense can win the game. I think that's what you said. That's what happened. They came together. Before it was offense and defense. When they came out of the Auburn game, they came out a team, and that's what we were missing. That's the identity we were missing.
Yeah, and Robert, I want to get your thoughts real quick before we get to break here about Will Anderson. to me, Will Anderson should be in New York regardless of who's on the list. But the fact that a guy who plays the same position as him is in New York, the kid from Michigan, the kid from Michigan is good. Don't hear me saying he's not good. But the kid from Michigan plays opposite of I think you pronounce his name Ajobi. That kid, those two have the highest 2 sack totals in the country. What does that tell you? That tells you that you didn't run one way or the other. You went both sides. You had a balance. Will Anderson did what he did while having a senior go down, a sophomore, a redshirt freshman come in, and then a true freshman come in, and look at their stats because you were running away from him. You were running away from Will Anderson, and he still was the most dominant player in college football. And so to me, I think C.J. Watson gets it right. He says it was Bama fatigue, 2 finalists in a row. It just shows you that this Heisman thing award, they need to revamp how they vote on it because it's too much of a regional award and things like that. What's your thoughts on him real quick, Robert?
Yeah, it was totally political, and there's no question about it. You know how to get politics out of everything. I mean, there's always politics in things. I mean, that's just how human beings are structured.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. It's the family.
I agree with you, Robert, but here's my thing. Any Heisman voter that has any sense of football, every time you put the stats up for Aiden Hutchinson and Will Anderson side by side, and you voted for Hutchinson over Anderson to be in New York, that is an embarrassment to your position as the trust. It's supposed to be a Heisman trust. There's no trust at all. It's all politics when you're trying to keep a young man out that's done as much as Will Anderson. So I get passionate and upset about certain things, not very often, but that's one thing that hurts me when you're taking away something from a young man who's earned it on the field. And you can look at it, it's not like they're close. It's not even close. I'm not taking anything away from Aiden Hutchinson, but it's because Will Anderson is so good that he's not even close to him. Not because he's not good. And I think that's a travesty when you do that and take it away from a young man who's really earned it.
And it's not and it's supposed to be about everything, not just stats. He would win it hands down on stats. But this is a sophomore who is clearly the alpha dog, clear-cut leader of this team. And that's the part that bothers me. But anyway, thanks, Robert. Appreciate you, sir. Go ahead.
One thing for those, and his character on and off the field too was outstanding too.
That's what I'm saying.
Billingsley. I wonder about Billingsley. His blocking in that last game was definitely outstanding. They got a lot of catches, but that blocking, the key blocks were great. All right, guys.
Yes, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Man, everything rolled together for the Tide. We're talking about it right here with DC Capstone Report. We got thoughts and comments on chat. You can add them there. Also, you can call us at 205-342-9904. Guys on the phone, hold on to the other side of the break.
100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet on the roadways as we kick off this Tuesday morning. Do drive carefully, and if you do see conditions that impact travel, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Just in time for the holiday savings, Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection, low finance rates, and they'll give you top dollar for your trade. Go get a deal now at Townsend Nissan.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Shop styles up to 70% off at Gap Factory and gapfactory.com. Don't forget to combine it with your Gap Cash. Save more through December 9th at Gap Factory and gapfactory.com.
High prices don't get you a great network. A great network gets you a great network. It's why Total Wireless runs on the largest, most dependable network with nationwide 5G. And now our totally unlimited plan is just $50 a month for talk, text, and high-speed data that never run out. Get unlimited laughing, scrolling, unlimited everything. Total Wireless. Do amazing. Available at Best Buy. Capable device and SIM required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. Total Wireless reserves the right to review your account after 60 gigs. Terms and conditions at totalwireless.com/terms.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring. Hello, I'm Martin Houston, and I'm so excited about this time of the year because it represents not just football, but the season of the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. On behalf of Harvest Church and the Martin Houston Show, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and invite you to join Harvest Church on Sundays at 10 a.m. and Wednesdays at 6 p.m., where we're creating and enabling faithful followers of Christ. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Martin Houston Show and Harvest Church. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. We got DC Capstone Report. DC, we were talking about the Will Anderson. I mean, and like you say, that I just hate that grown folk keep getting their own personal agendas in the way of honoring these kids correctly. And I think C.J. Watson asked the right question. Is it possible that there's Bama fatigue in terms of Will Anderson not making it? And, of course, Jed Cohen said that he thinks that what's the name got it for his career versus just being the best player this year. And that's the problem. There is not enough consistency in who and how and what. But either way, if the young man from Bama doesn't bring home the first Heisman Trophy and help to solidify what Joe Gaither said at the beginning, after one game, I think, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, after the Miami game, you said we may have just watched the best quarterback to ever play at Alabama when it's all said and done.
Well, I got to give credit to my man Kendall Hollowell for starting that trend in the spring. He said he was going to win the Heisman Trophy. I said, man, that's too much too soon. But just watch the way he plays quarterback, mechanically speaking, his arm strength, his arm talent, the way his eyes are, always keeping his eyes down the field, always being aware of the rush, his exceptional athleticism. I think he's the most talented quarterback that's ever played at Alabama.
Hey, Joe, and undoubtedly he has a yellow line on his you know how we get to see the yellow line on television? Undoubtedly, Bryce Young has a yellow line on the field as well, because I've never seen anybody, I'm talking about at any level, pro or not, that knows where the line of scrimmage is so instinctively. So, but anyway, if he doesn't win the Heisman, they need to just cancel the trophy. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. DC, we have Pat who's been holding Pat, you're in with DC Capstone Report on the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
DC, and y'all been hitting on it all morning long. If the Matrix needed any more motivation, first off, I would hate to be Cincinnati's quarterback. I'd hate because I would go and that fear factor that Coach Saban wants. He wants people to be scared of playing us. Hey, Cincinnati doesn't want any part of Alabama, and Michigan has best hope that Georgia beats the crap out of them because he's coming after that Michigan quarterback. If he needed any more motivation, Will Henderson has got it. What do you think?
I think you're 100% right, Pat. They call him the Terminator, and I think that when you hear his passion and his voice after that clip that Martin played at the very beginning of the show, and he ended his press conference, he became more passionate about it because I felt like he felt that the whole entire Alabama team was disrespected. Now, with this snub with the Heisman, I believe he'll feel himself has been disrespected. And I think he'll go out and play with passion and heart. And like I said before, I think they've gotten to a point where this is a team now, and they're going to play for each other. So I expect every player on that offensive line will be playing to block and just for him as well. So it's not just one person in here. I think it's going to help the whole entire Alabama football team as they prepare to play against Cincinnati and whoever they play in the finals.
Yeah, and I disagree with this. And now my question is, the four that were invited, are those supposed to be the four with the highest amount of votes already? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, the votes are in.
Okay. If the votes are in and they voted like that, then they got to take away these people that didn't play college football or that they got to take their ability away from them of being able to vote on the Heisman Trophy.
Well, the other thing.
Let me just say this, Pat and Martin. I think Martin will agree with this with me. This is just a microcosm of the bias that's in the media today. People will bring their own self biases to their voting, and it's not the way it should be done. If you're talking about, I'm talking about the big corporation bias, like the ESPN, CNN, USA Today, CBS, all these people who get these votes. They have this Alabama fatigue, and they're not gonna allow it to happen again this year, so to speak. They go in with that kind of attitude, and that's just unfair. And fans work so hard. And another thing is, I looked at. There's one outlet out there called The Athletic, and I don't promote anybody, but Stuart Mandel, and then they started this place to try to do different sports reporting differently. And they had a straw poll, and it came out Bryce Young and Will Anderson Jr. as 1 and 2. And they had never been wrong up at this point. They'd always picked the four that was going because of those guys are reporters who try to do it unbiased and try to do it the right way. So in my opinion, it just goes to show you that across America today, when you go in with your biases against Alabama, and this Alabama fatigue is a real thing. And I think we all understand that now.
And Pat, I'll be quick with this because I got to get to the next caller. But Pat, think about this. Media is dispersed, and it's dispersed where there's more media. So the Big Ten players always have more people voting for them. The Pac-12 players always have more people voting for them. The Big Ten always has more media. You know which area has the least number of media people? The South, right? So think about what happens if all of a sudden you take out they just doubled up their money. Why do you think that when you watch television, what two schools are represented the most on ESPN? I mean, not on ESPN, on television. Michigan and Ohio State, right? And if they have a decent player at either one of those schools, whether it's Fox, whether it's ESPN or whatever, Michigan, and maybe they have great communication schools. I don't know. But when you're continually putting that out there, it's easy for those guys to get promoted a little bit more. And they're big regional markets. That's why you want. That's why you want those teams in the playoffs. That's why you want them in the Heisman. That's why you want them in the postseason conversation, because it brings a lot more attention. So thanks, Pat. Appreciate it, man.
Okay. Hey, getting a rock star a blue jacket for Alpha was the smartest thing Nick Saban's ever done.
Who? Oh, okay. Al Flat.
Saban, a blue jacket for Alpha was the smartest thing he's ever done in recruiting, because he's constantly on a big stage, no matter who's playing.
Yeah, you mean Aflac. I was, that's why I was checking. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Pat. George, and go ahead. George, for making your own with the Martin Hughes Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Martin, just a couple of comments. I mean, I've never really been a fan of the Heisman Trophy, because I remember when John Heward won it in 1964 over Joe Namath, and everybody said, well, who's John Heward? You know, and, he was a quarterback for Notre Dame, and everybody that played for Notre Dame and USC pretty much always won that, the Heisman. So up until when Mark Ingram won it, I've really never been that much of a champion of the Heisman Trophy. Yeah. That being said, you're right. It is a regional contest. But I wanted to ask a question this. I was one of the people who was very skeptical of us being able to beat Georgia. And the reason being is we never played a full game up until that last game. And our offensive line has never blocked that well. And then I heard that Joe Pender was a consultant this last couple of weeks. And I want to know if that's true, and if you think that made a huge difference. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think there's several things. I don't know if Joe ever isn't a consultant, number one. I think Saban keeps him around, period, to answer that part of it. And I could be wrong, but his name is always popping up and being around. Whether they listen to him and how active, I don't know. But I do think, George, that when you having played the game and had to block guys, Joe, angles, all sports is really about angles, whether basketball or football or whatever. It's all about the angles you create. And because of our refusal to do anything other than drop back pass and RPOs, we had created a situation where you could tee off on our quarterback and running back because of their landing point, right? When we moved that landing point or changed it and started throwing the ball quicker, throwing the ball out in the flat, behind the line and down the line, it just changed things. I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if a couple passes weren't backwards that we didn't even count in his total passing yards from Saturday. So it's just that they helped the offensive line, but I think Joe Pentry probably is always around. DC, you have any comments on that?
I think you're right about Joe Pender. I think he always had his hand in the whole offensive line all year. I think Coach Saban relies on him for advice. What they listen to and what they do with it, I'm not sure. This game, though, I think comes down to one thing. I believe that Alabama's offensive line gelled at the right time, had the opportunity to get the right players on the field. And number two, this Georgia team, this Georgia defensive team, had not been tested all year long. And in reality, probably the Auburn defensive line was better for 3 downs than the Georgia's defensive line was better for 3 downs. And I think it came down to strength and conditioning. And I really believe it showed up in this game.
And I'll add couple other quick things. I think Mason did a better job of disguising his blitz at Auburn. He had a better game plan. And also, we had seen it enough that we had made the adjustments. But don't underestimate, George, McLaughlin's addition maybe He's just a better communicator because we didn't have any bust on the offensive line either. It seemed like, and it didn't seem like there was as much interaction, whether that was planned or not, between Bryce and the offensive line. It seemed like it was just called and done, and seemed to be a lot quicker for them to recognize what they had before the ball was snapped. I got to get the break so I can get out of here, but thanks, George, for those questions, man.
See ya.
See ya. Coming back on the other side, I got one more caller, and we'll put the final touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with the Martin Houston Show 2-minute warning up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet on the roadways as we kick off this Tuesday morning. Do drive carefully, and if you do
Hey, Joe, you can take out that Tuscaloosa curbing spot.
886-8886. Just in time for the holiday savings, Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection, low finance rate, and they'll give you top dollar for your trade. Go get a deal now at Townsend Nissan.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning, Tuscaloosa County Probate Judge and Commission Chair Rob Robertson officially kicked off the holiday season with the lighting of a Christmas tree in front of downtown Tuscaloosa's courthouse. The 45th annual Christmas parade then kicked off and marched through the downtown streets with more than 100 units, including choirs and marching bands. Tonight, it's Dickens Downtown in Northport. It begins at 6. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Town Square comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
The People's Choice Awards, hosted by Keenan Thompson, is the only award show chosen by you, the people. So let Keenan hear you.
With nominees in every category.
TV,
movies,
music, pop culture,
and performances from your favorite artists.
Christina Aguilera,
Blake Shelton,
cool surprises,
plus huge icon award winners.
Halle Berry,
Dwayne Johnson, Kim Kardashian West,
and more.
Hosted by me, Keenan Thompson. The People's Choice Awards, live tonight on NBC and E. And the red carpet starts first, live from E.
You know when you order a new video game, or a golf club, or a blender, and then it arrives at your door, you get a little thrill. Imagine how much more thrilling it is when you order a new car. With Nissan at home, you can shop for the perfect ride and order it without ever having to go anywhere. Sure beats a golf club or a blender. Buy a new car entirely online with Nissan at home, delivered direct from dealer to driveway. Thrill starts here. Services may vary at participating dealers, subject to applicable law. See dealer for details.
I'm Martin Houston, and I really get excited during football season, but nothing excites me as much as the Christmas holiday season. On behalf of the Alabama One family and the Martin Houston Show, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please stop by one of our branch locations because we'll be open to serve you throughout the Christmas season. And don't forget, you can visit alabama1.org. And once again, Merry Christmas from Alabama One, one together.
You're back in with the Martin Houston Show. We got DC Capstone Report. DC, tell us real quick what you got coming up, man. I mean, how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, the podcast is already up. Lance got it all up yesterday, so it's out there for everybody to go ahead and take a look at. DCCapstoneReport.com, the DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50. You can also check out Lance's other sites, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com.
All right, let's get to David from Georgia real quick. David, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, everybody. Hey, a couple things. First of all, I was so proud of our boys, our offensive line. Kicked those big old fat boys, kicked them around all day. I was pretty proud. The second thing is, Saban has proved all of us wrong so many times. You'd think we'd learn. When he first came here, remember what the old saying was? just trusting Saban when we didn't know what to do, just trusting Saban. And nowadays, it seems like we question everything the man does, and that's all right. Don't get me wrong. I encourage it. But we also need to know, keep in mind, the man's got a plan. And pretty sure he's smarter than all of us. And if we'll concentrate more on support as opposed to questioning this move with his coach or player, I'm pretty sure it'll work out. But that's only two things I wanted to throw out there.
Well, David, and I have no problem. I think people, have your thoughts, your comments, etc. And I'm gonna question him when like it made no sense that we weren't adjusting. But I finally came to realize, I said, undoubtedly, he just has something that he doesn't want to show Georgia, and he thinks we can win these games. It almost cost us against Auburn. That game plan we saw Saturday, David, they didn't learn that game plan last week. They have been working on that.
That's what the Georgia people are saying.
Yeah.
They're saying that that Auburn game, it wasn't all about it being getting ambushed. They were making plans.
Right.
On Georgia. They're saying the same thing.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, David. Appreciate you, sir. All right. Hey, DC, we don't have long, but CJ said, hey, give him your quick 30-second rundown on Bama versus Gonzaga.
Oh, man, what a game. Alabama went out there and played a fantastic game in all facets. I'm talking about had a game plan for their big man by going with our big guys and fouling and getting them all distributed with their fouls and using every foul they had and get them out rebounding them and shooting in the first half. I was so excited to see Alabama on a big stage like that playing basketball.
Definitely. We may have to get you back later on this week, but you can find what he had to say this week at DCCapstoneReport.com and find him on Facebook at DC Capstone Report. Thanks, DC. Catch up with you next week, if not later on this week.
Thanks, Martin. Have a great day and roll tide.
All right. Hey, I'm Martin Houston. That's DC. That's Joe Gaither behind the glass. Hey, remember this. We appreciate you, caller, listeners, chatters, and everyone who've been a part of the Martin Houston Show. And remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports.
Thanks, Joe. Have a good one, man.
On the Tide 100.9 app.